Hi, I'm Hannah, and welcome to the Counseling Corner. Welcome back to the Counseling Corner. Today I have with me Mary Scruggs, and she works here at Family Solutions with me. We're colleagues, and she is newly licensed, which is such a big deal. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. So she's a licensed marriage and family therapist here, and she's also a mom, and our topic today is maternal mental health. And so we just want to talk about all things women and maternal health. The importance of that is it's coming up next week, May 1st to the 7th is Maternal Mental Health Week. And so we just thought it would be really important to kind of highlight some things that moms might struggle with or might need extra mental health support in some areas. But for now, I wanted to let Mary kind of introduce herself.
Yeah, so as you said, I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. It's so nice to be able to say that.
You don't have to say candidate anymore.
I don't have to say candidate. And I'm here at Family Solutions, and I like to work with women a lot. Actually, I don't think I've talked enough about this on my show with Josie, but one of my frameworks that I tend to go to is actually feminist family therapy.
Okay.
So I'm all about raising up women, especially moms, right?
Yes.
But yeah, so here at Family Solutions, I usually work with clients who come in with betrayal trauma. So that's kind of one of my big themes too. But yeah, I think that's about it that I would add to my introduction.
And you work with when it's partners, the female, right?
Yes, female, mostly it's female, but partners of sex addicts. Yes.
Okay. So I love that. Yeah, you have that perspective of also like working with women, and just having that as like a passion of yours.
Yeah.
And so that is why I was hoping you would do this topic with me, just because I think it's so important when we have someone that is talking about something that means something to them and they're talking about the topic. And so, yeah, really to start, I wanted to illustrate like, okay, what is maternal mental health? How is that different from just like mental health in general? So when we talk about specifically maternal mental health, we're talking about the kind of well-being of women and mothers. And sometimes you might hear the term like perinatal mental health, which is sometimes used interchangeably, but that specific word is also talking or describing that time period that is while you're pregnant or shortly following a birth, so really that even up to that year after childbirth. So this really unique mental health time period of when you're going through a lot of enormous changes, pregnancy, following pregnancy, and then really after that, what is maternal mental health? So today we're talking about that, and I know you also, and I have 2 children, you have a child, so we've not only are we passionate about this in our professional life, we have experienced what it's kind of journeying through those seasons of life where you experience that.
Yeah, there's so many just layers to it, because it's like biologically your body's changing. Like 9 months is really not a long time. I think when you're in the midst of it, it feels like it, but it's really not. That your body is changing so much, and then your body's changing afterward. Then you add in like the external things going on, like you have a whole person to take care of, and it just impacts everything. It's not just one layer of your life, it's everything.
Yeah, absolutely. I think something that I want to raise awareness to is women in our culture, in our society, we're so underprepared for that. It's becoming more something we're prepared for, I think, because of social media and therapists like really advocating for that. But going into that huge season of change, and the importance for women making sure they kind of do have their mental health being supported, and self-care, and just in check in a lot of ways, because even when you are like, oh, I'm good, like I'm ready to have a baby, I'm prepared.
Yeah.
You never really are prepared.
No, and you have there's no way you can truly, everyone could tell you, they could watch this video right now and still not be totally prepared.
Yes, 100%. And I love that you said that, like, they could watch this video and still not be prepared. One of the things I would love to bring awareness to is, what are some of those things that women might struggle with after having a baby? Which a lot of times people hear the term baby blues, and so that's really common and really normal. Baby blues would be things like you feel tired, maybe you're anxious. These are things that are really common to experience after having a baby. You have brought a new human into the world. You're probably not sleeping.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah. So some of those things are very expected. But those feelings, if it's true like baby blues, those should go away and go away on their own without the help of like therapy or medication, any type of treatment. They would just like subside, and usually at least by like 2 weeks, maybe a month, those should be not present anymore. Whereas with postpartum depression, those are going to be more intense feelings of some of the same, like anxiety, maybe even panic or like excess worry, but they will last longer and they're not going to go away as with baby blues. So with postpartum depression, the duration of them and the intensity of them. And so I always, am trying to educate women on that, of like, hey, these are signs to look for, and know when you have these signs of like, these are red flags for me, and I need help. Yeah. And that it's okay to ask for help when you experience those things.
Yeah, it is just so hard. And even baby blues, like, I feel like it's just not encompassing enough of how they can, those feelings can be intense, and they can be really hard. Like, you're not prepared for how intense they are. So that I can only imagine, like, when it lasts longer for weeks, it's like, I don't know how you could have that for so long. That's got to be so, I don't know, isolating, exhausting, all of the above. Yeah. So, of course, like, that's where, I think we were kind of talking about this a little bit earlier, like, it's important for family and friends to at least be nearby, watching over, kind of recognizing, like, they may not even realize they're in the depths of postpartum depression.
Yes.
Because you don't know what you don't know, especially as a first-time mom.
Right. Yeah, you might think it's normal, that life will always feel this way.
Yeah, this is it.
This is just my new life. This is my new normal. And in some ways that can be the case, but in other ways it's not. I usually, if I'm working with families of moms who are struggling, or even moms that have had a baby, I try to tell the family members or the spouse some things to like look out for, as if the mom is feeling like excessively guilty, like things are her fault, or if she's frequently and repeatedly saying things like, I'm a bad mom, or I'm not doing a good job. Those I feel like are little, like, that doesn't automatically mean you have postpartum depression, but it's just one of those things of like, okay, maybe I should tune into that. That means something. So yeah, I think you're right, like, to have that support system so they can kind of help you recognize, like, hey, are you doing okay? And to, give each other permission, to ask that, to say, hey, give those people permission to say, I want you to check on me. And even before you have a baby, go in and say, hey, I don't know what this will look like once I have a baby, but please check on me. Please ask me how I'm doing. I think a lot of times people don't ask because they don't want to
bother you.
Yes.
Yeah. But it's like, that's actually the time you need to be reaching out more. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. I think I've seen, we've talked about like videos and stuff on TikTok and Instagram. Like, there's been a lot of videos made about the experience of everything we're talking about, right?
Yes.
Like pregnancy, postpartum. And some of the things I've seen is like, a lot of times women feel like they have their gang, their support system up until the baby's born, and then they're like, where's everyone? Where's everybody? But I think it's because of what you were just saying, like, we don't want to bother people. We want to let them have their space and their time, and we don't want to pressure them to meet the baby. But it's like, how do you find that balance of, I'm here for you, but I'm also going to respect you at the same time?
100%. Yeah. I totally love, like, I love that so much. And it's like this line of, like, you do want to respect people's boundaries, but also knowing on the other end, sometimes for moms especially, it can be so hard and such a vulnerable place to ask people for help. And so if you're not reaching out, they may never actually say, hey, I really do need you. I need you to come hold her while I take a shower, or I need you to let me take a nap for 20 minutes. You know, I think if we were vulnerable enough sometimes to tell the people we love what we really, really need, they would feel that. And so it goes both ways, like, yeah, bridging that gap of, like, I'm going to ask you and reach out, and then feel the permission to tell me the truth and tell me what you do really need, because I want to be there for you. And so I think oftentimes too, which again, it's in the context of respecting people's boundaries, but sometimes when people are in such a low place or hurting place, sometimes you do need people just to show up and go, hey, I'm here. Like, I've got you. Here's a crock pot of soup. I'm going to do your dishes, you know? Not the, like, oh, I'm here. I'm going to hold your baby and now, you know, whatever. But actually show up in a way that helps. I'm going to come vacuum, or I'm going to come do your dishes, or just, hey, I brought you dinner. I love you. And you walk out. So it's more about, like, serving them than being there just to hold the baby.
That is one. I should have sent over the link, but I follow this one doula on Instagram, and she's always giving really good advice on what you can even do if you go to a new mom's house. Because if you haven't had kids, maybe you don't know. You don't know what needs to be done. And so she will show videos, gives recipes on, like, if you go to their house, this is exactly the things you could do. And so it can be really helpful, because it can be kind of anxiety provoking of, like, I want to help, but I don't really know what to do. And I think something else we forget is supporting the mom supports the baby, right? That might sound obvious, but I think we forget that sometimes. And so doing those things like washing the dishes, feeding the mom, I mean, especially if she's nursing, she needs food to feed the baby. So it's like we want to focus on the baby and see the baby, but in order to really support the baby, we need to support the moms too.
Absolutely. 100%. So yeah, I love that. Maybe after the video's over, we can put in the comment section either the link to that person's name, so they can access that person's information, because I think that's a great idea. If you haven't had a baby or been in a situation where you know or don't know what's helpful, you're in that place of, well, I might not do anything because I don't want to disturb or violate someone's boundaries or, you know, be intrusive. And so I think that would be so helpful for people to see a list of good ways to reach out and support moms. And yes, supporting the mom is supporting the baby.
Exactly.
Mary and I were just talking about before we came on live. I was sharing with her another, like, Instagram reel I saw recently where it's showing the mom getting her, like, regular, you know, weekly appointments or bi-weekly while she's pregnant. Yes, and the doctor's like, oh, you know, just taking so much time with her and making sure her and the baby are well taken care of and they're okay. And then she has the baby. She gets 1 6-week appointment, and the doctor's like quickly just, like, barely paying attention to her. Yep, okay. And I think you mentioned, the doctor was like, you're suicidal? Nope. Okay, good. You're great. And then she just leaves the room, and then the mom is sitting there like, oh my word. Like, I am feeling anxious. I am feeling stressed. I feel very overwhelmed. This is really new. What do I do? And so, you know, you and I both feel that women in our culture right now, in our mental health world, that they're under supported. You know, if we're seeing a baby throughout 9 months while the mother's pregnant, you know, with a baby, and then 1 6-week appointment, and the mom is left to just figure out everything. So I definitely am supportive of women who think, I might need some additional support even after I have this baby what does it look like now to care for myself? I think that's super important.
And it's like, again, we can keep saying this, you don't know what you don't know. Mm-hmm. But after having my child, I realized in hindsight with my friends before who had kids, I'm like, oh, I was not there for them the way I needed to be. Yeah. But it's like, if we can even just educate everyone on this, then you know, like, my friend who's about to have a child may not know what they need, but at least I can be there, like, buzzing near them.
Yes.
And with, like, the medical system, I think sometimes it's out of the doctor's hands, too. Like, they're kind of working with what they have and what they know.
Right.
But...
or what they can bill for on insurance, which is so sad.
Yeah, there's so many layers to it. And we see that in our profession, too, right? So there's limitations and everything. But in the meantime, it's like, what can we do with our personal people in our lives? And hopefully that can have a trickle effect. Trickle effect.
For sure.
So
supporting those around you. And it's same, like, I know what I needed, or like what I wish someone maybe would have done, or what people did do that was so helpful.
You're like, oh, I will never forget that.
Yeah, so then it now has given me freedom to do that. Like, I am just going to show up and bring them a meal, and once I'm there, if they want me, you know, to be helpful, I will, or if it's better I just go, that's okay too. It's helpful when you do have those, like, life experiences to kind of move on from and gain that knowledge from. I think that, that's really good, for sure.
Because I have to admit, I'm a stubborn person, okay? And I thought I knew what I needed, and then I got there and I was like, nope, I was wrong, you guys. I have to admit, I was wrong. I needed more help than I thought, you know?
So for you during that time period, was it easy to reach out for help, or did that feel like hard to ask for help?
I think the point you made earlier where it was like, I didn't even know what to ask for, but I knew I needed something.
Yeah.
And so the people who did reach out to me, like, you know, it was like they kind of knew. Yeah. Like, this is what helped me, and this is what will help you. And then I try to continue showing that to others as well. What was your question again?
Oh, just like, was it hard for you personally to ask for help? Or were you able to say, like, hey, I need this?
Yeah, I think I changed a little in that I was able to ask for help more than I usually do. But then at the same time, it was like, what do I need to ask for? Because I know I need something, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah. Right. Can you give me a full night's sleep, please?
Yeah. Give me the things that maybe I really can't get.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. There was something I was going to add on that. Oh, so there's this term I've been seeing a lot called matrescence. I think I'm saying that correctly. Okay. But basically, there's a lot of, like, articles out there about it, about how there's just such a shift for new moms. Like, your identity is changing. But then also, like I was saying earlier, biologically, like, you have your brain is literally rewiring. Yeah. I mean, it is completely changing. So not every woman goes through that.
Right.
But new moms, like, their bodies have to change to adapt to, I have to focus on my child and be there for them. So, and I don't think that ever goes away. I think once your brain rewires in that way, it stays.
Yeah, absolutely.
So then as your children grow up too, it's not like you just go back to being the woman you were before. Like, we're talking a lot about new moms and moms of babies and stuff like that, but that doesn't just change. Like, you don't just totally go back to the person you were before, because now you're a mom and you're a mom forever.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. What a good perspective. Yeah, it is. Yeah. You never, you at that moment becomes and kind of start evolving into someone new, and that you kind of have to along the way figure out who you are and, you know, who am I outside of being a mom, and what does that mean to hold, you know, I have an identity, and it's not just in being a mom. And what does that look like? What fuels my passion outside of, like, this role of motherhood? And I do think part of, like, our self-care as women is finding those things. What fills up our cups and what fills up our passions outside of things, even though, yes, being a mom is, like, so rewarding. What else, you know, fills us up besides just that? What are ways that we find that, like, joy and passion?
Yeah. And of course that's going to change as your kids get older, and then they have different needs, so you have different needs. And you're ever evolving, and then they're out of the house, but you're still their mom.
Yes.
Just because they're not in the house doesn't mean you're not their mom, and then that's a whole new identity shift too.
Oh yeah. Like, okay. And so, right, that if you have put your identity in being their mom and raising them for 18 years, and then all of a sudden they move out, well, now who am I? Who am I without them? And so making sure all along the way you do, have your own values and identity within who you are.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, I don't know, I don't work with couples like you do, but even that concept, like with your spouse, you need to have your own identity and passions and hobbies and interests outside of each other, so you can, have that cohesiveness, not so your child is not who you are, but yet you can find things you do together that you connect and enjoy and love. So motherhood, it's just quite the roller coaster.
It is, I know, and everything we're saying today is not even touching how much more we could go into it.
Oh, the depth of it all.
I think we were saying earlier we could talk for hours about it, right?
Yes.
There's just so much, and then we're not even including dads in this, and they have their own experience.
Yes, they do, for sure. And there's many dads who I know nowadays, the mom might work outside of the home and work full time, and the dad maybe is experiencing more of like the load of motherhood or the load of parenting or caregiving, which can be, mentally draining in a lot of ways. So that's something too with, I just have this list of things to watch for, with postpartum depression, and those can even be, honestly, they're similar to things that are also, that can be categorized as like just depression as well. But so we said one, like your baby blues don't get better. So if those feelings like kind of continue, that dip just even after a few weeks or a month, if it stays really dipped down low, that's a sign, to look out for. Oftentimes that means it's probably more than just, I just feel a little blue, or I just feel like a little bit sad. Another one, I mentioned this earlier, like the sadness or those deep like feelings of guilt really like consuming your thoughts of, I feel guilty for this, or I feel guilty for that. That is one that, again, I think if you're having those overwhelming feelings of guilt, again, one to be like, this isn't, probably my normal. What does this mean? Why am I feeling this? I think this is the one that, obviously, this is a sign with depression, whether it's postpartum or not, but losing interest in things that you had interest in. Something that you maybe a movie, a romantic comedy you used to really laugh at, and then just not finding funny, or doing something you really loved before and then not finding joy in that, or pleasure in things you used to find pleasure in. Having trouble making decisions, which, again, if you're someone that's just like your normal, then this wouldn't be like, oh yeah, that's me. But if it becomes like, that almost like paralyzed feeling of like, I can't decide, I can't go forward in choosing things, then again, that's when you're like, okay, let's kind of assess that, or like keep an eye on that. Sleep patterns changing, which of course that's inevitable. It's definitely going to change. But even the example of like, let's say your baby's resting, you have nothing to do. Can you rest? When there are times to be able to rest, are you able to? Or is your body keeping you, like alert? And
are you almost manic, maybe even?
Yes.
Sometimes, I don't know. I think I've heard sometimes people experience that a little bit too.
Yes, and that, I actually put in here to talk about that. That is like, there's postpartum anxiety too, which is very much this like, you are constantly in that state of like arousal. You're hypervigilant. You can't, like in this, like the rest, you would just be, manic as you described it. And again, all of these are going to be consult with a medical professional to fully encompass the criteria for them. But these would just be things to like look out for. Something that you mentioned is what made me want to make sure I brought this up is when you have had like a stressful event prior to giving birth or prior to having a baby. It could have been a death in a family or I mean really any stressful event that took place prior to the birth. All of a sudden now you've had a baby and it like basically brings to the surface a lot of things you thought like, oh, I had dealt with that, and if it's coming back up in really intense ways, that's also something to watch for. So sometimes it can either deepen that like sadness or trigger it. It can just be like a trigger for the postpartum depression.
I mean, talk about just piling it on in the first place. So.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. And so then obviously if you are thinking about hurting yourself in that time or hurting your baby, that would be a major one to look for. But it's also like a kind of like a stereotype of postpartum depression that people think that's what postpartum depression is, of I'm gonna hurt my baby, or have thoughts of that, and that's not always present. It can be, but not always. And so then, if you're watching this, or if you know someone that is experiencing thoughts of like wanting to harm themselves or their child, please reach out and call 988. It's a line in Oklahoma similar now, which is so great, but similar to like 911, you would just dial 988 and you instantly reach a trained person that can help you in a crisis.
And they will know exactly what to do.
Yes. Yeah. So definitely reach out if you're experiencing any of those signs, but also if you're in those like really deep crisis moments or having those intense thoughts, we want you to reach out to.
It's already hard, and it doesn't have to be that extreme to where you're wanting to hurt yourself or your baby. Like, you don't have to be so miserable. It's already a difficult time for anyone. So
I think, like you said, definitely, we're therapists, so we're like, I know I'm like, oh, everyone needs therapy.
Of course.
You definitely need it, even if you're not experiencing a hard time. So when you are in those valleys of motherhood and trying to figure out what is normal, how do I do this? How do I address my self-care? If you find yourself needing additional support, maybe you don't have it with your friends or family. We have amazing therapists here at Family Solutions that would be available to help you with these things.
And maybe that's something too that if I could give like advice. People could just go ahead and schedule appointments beforehand if they want. Like, I'm gonna cut. I don't know, if I have a client who leaves and they have a child, like, let's just schedule a month out, or let's have our own 6-week appointment. Just so you can come in and check in with a mental health clinician. And just plan ahead in that way. And if you come in, you're like, things are great. Doesn't hurt to have that appointment. And of course, the things we're talking about too are especially privileged, right? Like to be able to ask for support, to be able to afford the support too. So always finding ways to be there for the people in your lives who have children, and figuring out what you need for yourself. And it is ever changing because your children are ever changing.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll definitely put in the comment section of the videos some links to those ways you can reach out for support, and some organizations that people could reach out to that maybe they don't have like certain things that they need, or ways to get connected. There's really great organizations that provide that too. Well, before we end our time here today, I have a little game I play with all my guests on the show.
I like games.
And it's called This or That. So this one's just like maternal self-care editions, okay? So they're pretty easy, but I'll let you choose. There's no like right or wrong, and we kept them very like, neutral. These aren't going to be like hot topics that you're going to offend anyone.
Okay.
Yeah, and you're disappointed in that.
Yeah.
Usually people are. They want it to be.
No,
yeah. They want it to be like a controversial, like hard one.
Yeah.
Okay, so would you rather listen to a podcast or read a book?
Okay, that's hard because it depends. But I'm going to say listen to a podcast because I can do stuff. Excuse me. Yeah.
Yeah,
I like reading, but
you can fold laundry and listen to a podcast.
Right, you have to be able to do two things at once sometimes.
For sure. Yep. I love it. Okay, would you rather have...
Wait, what would you do? I want to hear you.
Oh, what would I do?
Yeah.
None of my guests have ever asked it back to me.
Okay.
That's so thoughtful of you. I'm going to go with listen to a podcast too because it's, sometimes I'm like really... it's like definitely in between because I'll do like the audio book.
Yeah, so that's a happy
but I'm
medium.
listening, and then if I have a chance to like read my actual copy of it, I can like, it's like doing both.
Yeah.
Like when I'm driving in the car, I can listen to it, or if I'm folding laundry, I can listen to it.
Yeah.
Or if by chance I get a time to read actually the book without multitasking, I can read the book. Yeah. So. Yeah. Okay. Morning coffee or sleep in?
Oh, morning coffee. I honestly, it maybe contradicts itself in a way, but I'm like, I would rather wake up early and lose sleep so that I have time to enjoy my coffee in the morning.
Yes, 100%.
Same.
Morning coffee, and I want to have that time to like just take some moments to myself, enjoy my coffee while it's hot.
While it's hot.
While it's hot. That's
or
the
while
trick.
it's iced and ice hasn't melted.
Yes.
Feeling a nice coffee.
Yeah. Okay. Would you rather go to bed early, or would you rather like stay up late, maybe binge some shows, or what do you like to do?
I have to say, because of the stage I'm in, my child is still very young. I have to say go to bed early because I'm like, if I want to sleep, I gotta go to bed early. Yeah. I like the idea of staying up late, but
okay,
hurts me in the end.
So for me, I know I should go to bed early, but I tend to lean more to like staying up late, not like excessively late.
Not 3 a.m.
No. Yeah, I'm old, so my version of late is like 11:30, midnight at the latest. And even when my girls were little, I found myself wanting to stay up late because it was like my time without children.
Yeah.
I wasn't worried if they were going to wake up from their nap. It was just like, I can take that time for me.
Yeah.
Kind of counterintuitive, right? Because I'm missing hours of
morning
sleep,
or night, you just take your pick.
Yes, exactly. Okay, would you rather be around friends or have alone time?
See, I'm an introverted extrovert, so it depends. I would say probably, I don't know. That's hard.
It's a hard one.
That's a hard one because it just depends on my
feeling.
So
if you're thinking about like self-care, if you're wanting to have like self-care, I want to refuel myself.
Then probably be alone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need my introverted time alone.
Yeah. So saying we're very similar in these. I'm learning. I get my energy by being alone, but I also love like being with my friends. Yeah, but it has to be like my people that I like, or else it drains me instantly.
Yes, it spends more energy faster. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, last one. Would you rather go to the beach for a vacation or go to the mountains?
Beach. I love the mountains, but I just like being able to just like lay there in the hot sun with like a nice cold drink and just be.
Yes.
Dip in the water if I'm feeling a little too hot.
Yeah. The same. The relaxing of the sun. Like the mountains are beautiful, but I'm like,
they take a little more work. Yes. You gotta hike or something.
Well, and the work of like putting on the coat, layering up for the snow.
And you get hot, and that's the thing. You can't just go out with a t-shirt and shorts, but you also get really hot with all the layers. In the mountains.
And then when you go back in, you have to take out the beach for sure. Yeah. So, okay. Well, thank you so much for joining me today.
Yes, thanks
on
for
the
having me.
Corner.
This was fun. I feel like we need a part 2 because there's so many more things I could say.
What a great idea. I can work it into a part 2.
Okay, so to be determined.
Yes, part 2 of maternal mental health coming soon. To be determined, for sure. Okay, well,